Hi, I'm Tim Van Orden, and this is Start Here. Today, I want to talk about another way to look at moving towards your goals. And I'm going to use the analogy of taking a long trip in your car. Because moving towards a goal and taking a long trip are actually quite similar. We have a starting place, we have a destination, we usually have a map, and we have many different ways to get there. Unfortunately, most people don't see this connection. They see moving towards their goals in a very different way, often inspired by the likes of Tony Robbins, who has an acronym CANI, C-A-N-I, Constant and Never-Ending Improvement. And this is what people think they should get. That's what it looks like to move towards a goal. That's what it looks like to succeed. That's what it looks like to grow. Constant and never-ending improvement. And this style of thinking falls into what I call reasonable goal setting, where people set reasonable goals based on what's possible rather than what's plausible or probable. Now, it's possible that you get discovered in Hollywood. That is possible. It's also possible that you win a Powerball jackpot. Totally possible. It's reasonable to think that these things can happen, which is why people buy lottery tickets, because it's perfectly reasonable. It's possible. But is it probable? Is it likely? Is it realistic? For 99.9% of the population, no, it isn't. But we all hear stories about people that got discovered in Hollywood, people that go to the Olympics, people that won the Powerball jackpot, people that find some antique in their attic and put it on Antique Roadshow and it's worth $500,000. These things do happen. And due to something in psychology called the availability heuristic, we believe that this type of success is much more likely than it really is because we see it available around us. Our media stream keeps telling us that these things are possible, but they're not probable. So I'm going to steer you away from that constant and never-ending improvement mindset and bring you back into the car with me on a trip. Yesterday, I had to drive 3 hours each way to go to a race. And one of the first things I had to do after I left the house was get gas, because there wasn't enough gas in the car to make it all the way. So, step one, stop, get gas. But wait a minute, I'm not constantly improving right now. I'm stopped. I'm filling the tank. What does filling the tank have to do with my athletic aspirations and doing well in this race? It doesn't. This is sidetracking me. This is not important. Well, the trip isn't possible if I don't stop and get gas. Okay, so then I'm driving along, and about an hour later, I got to go pee. My God, I got to stop the car. I got to get off the road. I got to find a gas station. I got to pee. Sidetracked, distracted, not part of the journey, not part of the path, not part of moving towards my dreams. Or is it? If I'm properly hydrated, which you need to be before a race, then I'm going to have to go pee. If I don't have to pee in that 3-hour trip, that means I'm not properly hydrated and my race is going to tank. So peeing on a long trip is part of being prepared for that goal. Stopping for gas is part of being prepared for that goal. And then as I got into the city, I got lost because I'm looking at the Google map and the directions in the map look one way, but here I am in reality and it looks totally different. Again, reasonable goals. Google shows me this map that looks totally reasonable, but it's not an exact representation of the real world. So when we create our maps, when we're goal setting and planning and doing our vision boards, we're not drawing a map of the real world. We're drawing a map of something that's possible, something that we would like to happen, and it could, but it's not likely. Chances are what we encounter along that journey is not going to look like what we see on the map. Often when people are moving towards a goal, they get in this unrealistic mode of thinking. It's almost a delusional mode of thinking where they think nothing bad is going to happen. And they're not going to encounter any challenge along the way. They're not going to encounter a natural disaster, a storm, a mudslide, an earthquake, a fire, snow that covers the road so you can't get to where you want to go, financial situations that might arise, a breakup of a relationship, somebody dying in your family, a pet dying. There's all kinds of things that happen. Or simply somebody saying no to a request that you make. What are you going to do? Are you prepared to deal with that situation? If we go back to Tony Robbins and his constant and never-ending improvement, He's talking only about the gas pedal. That's it. Gas. Just hit the gas. Only hitting the gas pedal is a recipe for disaster. You also need to know how to hit the brakes, because there's other people on the road. And there's other people in your life as you move towards your goal. And when we plan our goals, we usually plan them as a narcissist would. We don't really take other people into consideration. We just think about me and what I want and what I'm going to do and what I'm going to get, what my life is going to look like. Well, what about the other 7 billion people in the world that are driving along the same road with you, that are interacting with you as you move towards that goal? What about them? Sometimes you're going to have to hit the brakes because maybe they're being narcissistic as well and they don't see you and they cut you off. And in this case, hitting the brakes means learning how to inhibit your desire or your urge to ride the emotional waves that show up. Somebody says something, somebody rejects you, and suddenly you've got this, whether it's anger or whether it's sadness, whether it's insecurity, whether it's a feeling of uselessness, whatever shows up, are you going to ride that wave? Are you going to paddle and get on top of that wave and try to surf it? If you are, you're not going toward your goal. You got to hit the brakes. That wave's coming up, it hurts, and you say, ooh, oh yeah, okay, I'm hurt right now. All right, I probably shouldn't surf this wave. I'm going to hit the brakes. I'm just going to let that wave, oh, that hurts. Okay, and now it's going away. All right, deep breath. Do you ride the waves of defeat that come along? Do you ride the waves of disappointment that come along? If you do, you're not going to make it to your goal. So putting on the brakes isn't just about avoiding others or being considerate of others. It's also about avoiding your own emotional pitfalls. It's about avoiding expectations to begin with, especially unrealistic expectations. Now, driving 3 hours to go to a race, do I have any unrealistic expectations about that? No. Getting in the car, I'm putting in the gas, I'm stopping to go pee, I'm looking at the map, and I get there, I get to my destination. Setting a goal should be the same way. You've got to take all of these other things into consideration. Now, I didn't expect that trip to take 2 hours instead of 3. I knew it was going to take 3. In fact, maybe it might take 3 hours and 15 minutes. So I planned that in. And you need to also do this with your goals. You've got to plan that things may not go the way you want. You've got to take putting on the brakes into consideration. You might have to slow down. You might have to back off. Something comes along, whoa, okay, I'm really reacting here. Put on the brakes, slow down, back up. How about we pull off the road for a little bit and just take a nap? Maybe we're tired, maybe we're overextended. We probably shouldn't keep driving. I think it's best if we put on the brakes, go over here and do something else. Maybe read a magazine in the car, maybe take a nap. Hey, maybe go explore a nearby town. And then when we're feeling better, okay, let's get back on the road. So the moral of the story is slow down, relax, and look at goal setting, look at planning as if it's a journey. You want to enjoy the journey. You want to enjoy the drive. You want to enjoy the pursuit of that goal, not just the end result. Because the end result is probably unrealistic anyway. And if you're in a rush to get there, you're going to end up getting a lot of speeding tickets. You're going to end up crashing into other people that are also jamming to try to get to their goal. And you're going to miss the process. And what do you end up with? Disappointment. You didn't get your goal. You got in a lot of fights. You probably alienated a lot of people. And there was a lot of collateral damage. When I started the Running Raw project, I ran too much, too fast, too soon. And I was injured all the time. And it crushed me. I was riddled with disappointment and anxiety because I was letting people down. I said I was going to do these great things and now I can't do them because I'm injured for 2 months. What am I going to do? Well, now 7 years later, I'm a very different person. And I approach things much calmer. And I look at all the things I need to consider. And I take my time. And I take pee breaks. And I fill up for gas. And I do a little sightseeing. And I take pictures. And I enjoy the trip. And I get there. I make progress. I've done some pretty extraordinary things using this method. So try putting on the brakes every now and again and see how it works for you. All right? I hope that helps. Okay. I love you. Bye.